when you think of telling a story through food, what are some of the things that you are taking into consideration when you're constructing that narrative?
In my role now, right, in Restaurant Associates, where the majority of our business is feeding people, meeting them in the workday or in their museum trip, sometimes in the restaurants. The restaurants makes it easier because people know nobody goes to a restaurant without looking at a menu anymore or looking where they're going.
Yeah.
So those days are you probably already know more or less what you're going to order before you go in to an establishment. There are a few things on the menu that caught your
Yes.
right? But a lot of what we do today is meet people at the workplace or part of their busy day, running through a museum with a family. And first and foremost, I need to understand who am I feeding, right? Which is different than a restaurant because in a restaurant, it's who is the chef. You come to
Mm,
eat the chef's food. In my role right now, it's not about enough. It's not about the chef at the unit. It's about the people that are coming to eat. What are their limitations?
mm,
What are their desires? What do I need to cook for them to make their day that much more special? So they can be more energetic. So they can go home and say, wow, I ate this amazing salad or bowl or sandwich, or I met them where they are. But because of who I am and because of the amount of people that I feed, I also have responsibility of where do I source this food from? How do I tailor it as a menu? Who grew this food? Who produced this food? Can I shine a light on my amazing cook that maybe it's her grandmother's that we're featuring today? Can I shine a light on, for example, Raw 7 that we're working with that is local, grown right, produce in partnership with Blue Hill. Very small, just started producing for food service, but it's so tasty. They're coconut and honey patch and potatoes are so tasty. How do I tell the story through that food? How do I tell the story of sustainability, of sourcing right, of reducing waste because I didn't peel the carrots on that particular dish? How do I tell the story that, maybe that farmer is minority owned or women owned business, right? So to me, going and buying a dish is beyond the sustenance of that point in time. I'm hungry equals I'm going to eat something.
yeah.
I'm hungry equals I'm going to spend some money on something that I want to eat, but this something I don't want it to make me tired. I don't want to feel heavy or I don't want to have the bellyache. Maybe I have some restrictions. I want to know that my money that I paid went for something that I believe in. All this is needs to be told through the food, right? And something that we are heavily thinking about before designing any dish.
Mhm. It's really interesting to hear you frame it that way because it makes me think of why I want to have conversations like this on the show because we're talking about language, but food is a language, as you said. And when you're putting a story together and you're telling that story and you're including these inclusive origins, whether it's women owned or minority owned or small batch or sustainably farmed and et cetera. It's from, where I'm sitting, it's a story of how our communities are connected and it's a story of how we belong with one another and how we work together to create something that a lot of people may not even give a second thought to of how it's created and how it's put together, how it's built. So that's, I think, as being a chef, I think it's really important that you are connecting those dots in those communities and bringing people together and you're able to tell that narrative and tell that story in that way similarly to how we do with language or whether we're writers or orators speech givers and I think in the human condition we all want stories, we all crave stories, we want to hear stories. So I'm putting that together in my head maybe for the first time that I know that language is that food is a language, but in this way, I'm just putting it together in my head for the first time, really understanding how behind the scenes, it's bringing people together and it's sharing community among that. And that's so powerful.